Warning, this video touches on the subject of gender and gender identity. The character in question has been questioned about what his/her gender might be, and it may be as simple as their gender identity. I hope you guys understand that I'm doing this merely based off of the content that I have been given in the game and the creator of the game themselves. Hope this does not make you think that I have anything against non-binary genders. Hey there everyone, this is Phantom Celebi, and I want to talk about something. Not too long ago, Treesicle did a video where they spoke about, some stuff going on in the game Deltarune. If you recall, who the creator of Deltarune is, it is, Toby Fox, the person who made Undertale. The game itself is full of anagrams for different characters, but I know a lot of people made a big fuss over, Treesicle pointing out something that could actually be true. And that is that Ralsei might be female. I mean, other than the obvious signs that Ralsei might be female, I mean, there are some personality things that seem to also kind of point in that direction. Oh, I'm not gonna make like an Undertale related thing, I'm just like making a sim in the background. I would have, started up Deltarune, but I mean, I feel like it's a little pointless. And I mean, most of the people who watch my channel watch it for The Sims. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. If you actually recall the way Deltarune started, you created a character, and this character, like you made it exactly to the way you wanted it, and when the time came where you were done and you made it all nice and special and pristine and clean, the game asked you, like, what name you wanted to use and all that, and then it asked what your name was, and then didn't even use that name. So, this game already, from head to toe, was already kind of weird. It had its fair share of hoops and hurdles, but the one major theme in Chapter 1 was not everything is what it appears to be. So, I mean, there's a good possibility that Ralsei, despite saying that they were a prince, could indeed be a princess. And possibly assumed the prince role to fit the narrative of that legend that is apparently pretty popular in their world. I mean, think about it. Like, how weird would it be to say you're a princess of darkness when your legend specifically states that it has to be a prince? I mean, Ralsei still could be the prince in the legend. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen, if you guys ever seen Game of Thrones. I mean, they had a specific word that in their books, I don't know exactly how to put it. I mean, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, I suppose if you're old enough, you can actually watch it. But there's a particular scene where they talk about a legendary person who will rule over this world. And they're not... Originally in the legend, it said it was somebody who's like a male. But it's speculated that the person in question is possibly female. Because they also said that they were of Targaryen blood, and the only person of Targaryen blood currently alive, from what they believed originally. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but from what they believed originally was Daenerys. So that series alone had its fair share of royalty mishaps and such. But yeah, so it isn't an uncommon thing for a female royalty to be mistaken in a legend, so to speak. Okay, so back to the whole Ralsei being female thing. I mean, a lot of people actually, they don't like the idea of this because they're like, they feel it's messed up then that Susie's continuously calling this character, dude. But you also have to remember this. Toby Fox grew up during the same time as me. And dude was a gender androgynous word for people born within our time. I mean, I do this all the time, actually. Like, I'll be talking with my female friends, and I'll still call them dude. So, at that, Toby Fox isn't exactly a stranger to making gender androgynous characters. I mean, Frisk and Kara, or Kara, depending on how you say it. I know a lot of people said that their name was Kara. I mean, though Kara does actually seem like it fits a little better. Anyway, enough of those people's names. I mean, originally when Toby Fox did Undertale, they basically said that the gender of the main character is whatever you want it to be. And that would also apply to the internal self of Kara/Kara. So, I don't know. My personal feel on this is this world was completely created by, most likely completely created by Kris, who didn't know how to reflect all the distress and emotions that they have going on in their life. One of them probably being a gender confusion issue. Because, I mean, Kris can stand for two possible names in the way it's spelled. It could be the name Crystal. Actually, I guess it could be any sort of K spelling for that, but I mean, the ones that come to my mind is Crystal and Kristoff. What if, by chance, the reason Ralsei even exists is because they're some sort of manifestation of how Kris feels? What if Kris themselves is having some sort of gender identity issue? And, like, they imagined up this character that looks like, pretty much like their mom, guiding them throughout the whole way. And I mean, it wouldn't be too weird to think about that. I mean, so Ralsei is an anagram for Azriel. Azriel is male. Azriel's also an adult. What if we took the whole premise that Azriel is the inspiration for Ralsei, but Azriel, their gender was swapped? Because we know for a fact, that Azriel is male. Azriel has been gendered as male, and clearly he is male because, you know, everyone's calling him your brother. So my honest opinion on that is, like, you created a companion that's like your brother, but also like you, where you have a bit of an identity crisis, a little bit of something dark going on within yourself, where you can't control what your destiny is, so therefore Ralsei, the manifestation of your feelings, having an identity issue themselves. So, I mean, I could be totally wrong about this, but I mean, it does kind of seem weird that Ralsei looks so much like a girl. Like, but still calls themselves a prince. I mean, if you've played fully through Deltarune, you'll notice that Ralsei has these pretty girl-like eyelashes. And she or he, we don't know what gender they are, but they have these pretty girl-like eyelashes. They pretty much look like Toriel. They look like Tori. And it would totally make sense if you thought about it. Because if we are going by Ralsei's inspired by Asriel, and Asriel, if you actually paid attention to his name, is a full-on split in between. Like, bada bing, bada boom. Split in between of Asgore and Toriel. Asriel. And it would totally make sense if the opposite version of Asgore and, basically Asriel's opposite would be female, but still identified as male. Because we don't know. Maybe even Kris is like the us from the first game, where it's a matter of perception what the gender of this particular character is. And I'm not exactly shocked by the whole gender androgynous thing of this particular series, because if you also know, Toby Fox worked on another game that was based on Homestuck, which was a comic book series where a lot of the characters there were gender androgynous or didn't have genders that were typically binary. So, it totally makes sense that all the games he's worked on seem to have a theme about the whole gender thing. And I could, like I said, I could be totally wrong, and Ralsei could be completely male. But, it would kind of make sense in a sort of way that Ralsei and Kris share that weirdly androgynous gender thing. There are so many possibilities. We're only on chapter 1, and there could be a multitude of things that are going on in this person's life. For one, Ralsei could actually believe they are the prince from the legend. And they just happen to be born in the wrong body. So they continue with the facade, but they knew at the end they had to tell Kris and Susie. Also, the series itself, it's not the same game, and it's not in the same universe, but Toby Fox isn't against the idea of there being homosexual characters in the games. So, my thought on that is, what if Susie said dude in that particular tone, because Ralsei is a very pretty girl. And it could be a thing, because Susie didn't seem very interested in Ralsei when Ralsei was disguising themselves. But it's a possibility Susie felt, I don't know, possibly like this character was much more attractive when you can see all their feminine features. I would say this whole thing is just, it's all interpretation, but I'm not totally against the idea of Ralsei being a female and not being the prince that's told in the legend. Because it is a good possibility. I mean, Lancer does kind of fit the criteria pretty well. And who knows what's going to go on as the game goes along. Because, yet again, it says chapter... Like, we're on chapter 1, and there is going to be more. And I'm assuming each chapter is going to follow up what happened in, what's happening throughout Kris's life. Okay, possibly even, like, all the things that are gonna lead up to the Azrael coming back. Because, I mean, Azrael's coming home. And he probably will be the main focus on these things. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the ending of Deltarune. And I don't exactly want to spoil it for you, but, I mean, if you have... This is for you. So if you actually look at the ending where Kris gets up, can't move their own body, and they toss their heart into a cage. If you had a good look at that cage, it actually had blood on it well before you did that. So it seems like that's something that Kris does every night. It could be a possible thing that Kris is fighting himself internally, or herself, themself. I mean, I still don't know what Kris is. But it could be another situation like the first game, where Kris is whatever gender you want Kris to be. But, I mean, like... That's just a theory. Oh god, I'm terrible. I need to toss myself out a window. Toss me out a window! Okay, but all seriousness, like, you see the ending, and it seems like Kris still follows that sort of thing that has been kind of hinted on throughout the whole first chapter, that everything in this chapter, I mean, it could even be something different per chapter, the message, but it seems in this chapter the whole message was that you don't have control on how your life is held, and maybe the reason that Kris is like this is because Kris is depressed. Kris is unhappy, so Kris throws away their heart each night so they don't have to think about it. Oh, geez, Louise. I'm gonna probably, like, give him some clothes here. Something else. But, yeah, like, I would say tell me what you think. My video's not as deep and complex and interesting as the Treesicle videos. And this is just me saying my response to the Treesicle videos. I'm not, like, an expert on theories and etc., blah, blah, blah. Toss me out a window. But I'm just basing it off of my interpretation of how the game turned out. And I did notice quite a bit of a theme where a lot of characters, they can't control how things go. Possibly, you know, the way the world perceives them. Because the only person who actually gave Susie a chance, if you really think about it, might be Kris. And it's possibly because Kris knows that Susie doesn't get positive attention. Susie's, like, just as alone as they are. And knows that even after this, Susie still won't be, you know... Nobody will still think of Susie as the awesome person that she was in the first Deltarune. So they're gonna just continue to play together and have fun. Okay, so I suppose you tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe for more spastastic content. And I love you guys. Stay awesome. Bye-bye. Mwah. Bye. See ya. Welcome back, mortals, to my Phantom Squad. Top tier. And I want to thank you guys all for enjoying my last video. I mean, I don't know who was the one who shared my video, and whoever they are, just keep doing it. But I'm probably going to have to change some things on the top tier, because a few of these people actually changed their names. But anyway, here's to you, Jazz the Chameleon, Potato _ a bunch of numbers, EDCC Fines, Cute Girl Sim, Calorie _ Aiken, Malunix5, Carissa Sims, Benjamin GYT, Laura, EJ Black Dove, Trippy D, Ray of Sunshine X1, Sonic Jenny, Shipty, Kaleda Sims, Prismatic Simmer, Sims Lena, and Stray Shadow Cat. You guys are just so incredibly cool, and I want to share even more theories and feelings, blogs, character creations, and we are a united fandom. Sims 4 fandom is going strong, and I know for a fact that you guys are there watching me, and I'm watching you, and we look out for each other. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. See ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.